Good morning, Alan. As you already know, in the past few months, I've been playing Dead or Alive 5, Last Round. Now, I feel it's important to note this isn't something new. My first experience with Dead or Alive was actually DOA2 Hardcore on the PlayStation 2, the second generation of PlayStations and the second game in the DOA franchise. I've always been struck by how fast and fluid a fight in this game can be, and there's a few mechanics in play that allow for really great turnabouts when you're on the ropes. However, I also recognize that DOA has a few design philosophies that make it hard to recommend to people, the sort of thing that makes for an awkward conversation when you have spectators in the room. For example, this right here is a choice to make in the options screen. My choices are off, natural, DOA, or OMG, and let me tell you, that ain't natural. Now this is the PC version, but I hear on next-gen consoles there's yet another setting that utilizes the soft engine. I can't even imagine what that might look like.
I'm no pushover, sweetie.
Team Ninja's fundamental misunderstanding of how the female body works aside, there's actually a solid fighting game here. Real talk for a sec, there's a chance I'm making this video to try and explain how I'm not a pervert for playing DOA. There's actually a great fighting game here, I promise. The first feature that sets DOA apart from other games is the hold button. When held without a directional input, this acts as a block button. Nothing revolutionary there, I suppose. I mean, the Mortal Kombat games have a dedicated block button these days. However, when combined with a directional input, this hold button becomes a counter hold. Here's how it works. In order to successfully land a hold, the player has to accurately predict where the blow is going to land. Many characters have extra hold command options, but for now I'm just focusing on the universal basics that every character has. For an attack aimed at the upper body, it's diagonally back and hold. For an attack aimed at the midsection, it's just back and hold. And as you may have already guessed, for the lower body, it's going to be diagonally down and back and hold. The real kicker, though, is the mid-kick, which is done by pressing towards the opponent and hold. Since many basic attacks land in the mid-range, I imagine this is to discourage players from just constantly mashing on mid-hold, hoping to get lucky with a grab. This hold button is what makes Dead or Alive so much fun to play against real people. Humans are creatures of habit. We tend to fall into similar patterns. We eat the same foods, go to the same places, sit in the same spots when we're in a classroom. That's not to say we never try anything new, just that we tend to choose the familiar. Fighting games are no different. People tend to stick to familiar characters and familiar combos. DOA allows players to punish opponents who rely on using the same attack string over and over, and likewise encourages players to vary up their approach from match to match to keep an opponent guessing. If a hold doesn't connect, your character gets stuck in this awkward animation where they're putting their hands in the air and going, so I guess you're not going to kick me in the face then? Oh, damn. During these frames, you're completely unable to defend yourself. Alternatively, if you go for a hold, but your opponent is going for a grab instead, you end up taking extra damage from the grab, and that can hurt real bad. The good news, though, is if you find yourself stuck in a combo and you know what's coming next, you can still break out of it by performing a timely hold, even while being attacked. The exception is if you get caught in the air, like so, in which case you're pretty much just a flying punching bag. Let me go over the basic mechanics. There's a punch button, a kick button, a dedicated grab button, a punch and kick combination button, a kick plus hold button, and then a kick plus hold plus punch button, which is mainly just used for taunting or tagging out in a tag match. Every character has unique strengths and weaknesses. Some have more unique strikes, some have more throws as options, and others have more unique counterholds. Stances are also a major factor, like Helena, the human blender here, but let's not get into that. There's nuance to her that would require a whole video. Knowing what your opponent is capable of is always essential in any fighting game, but I think it's even more so here. Knowing what your opponent's options are in a given combo string can allow you to better predict what's coming next. Fortunately, Dead or Alive 5 recognizes this and does an excellent job providing tools to teach players the basics. First, there's command training, where you can go through every combo string, grab, and counterhold for your given character. If you look at the combo strings at the top of the command prompt, the game actually even provides little arrows within the circle, which let you know which part of the body that strike hits. If you're finding a particular attack repeatedly difficult to counter, it can be helpful to refer to the command prompt to see where that strike is hitting. Some characters, like Brad Goddamn Wong here, make it difficult to figure out from sight. There's also a much more robust combo training mode that builds on the command training, teaching unique ways that characters can follow up certain strings for more damage. These start simple and then start getting complicated fast. Currently, I can only get about 75% of the way through any given character's combo training. The last couple are too much for me to handle. In addition to a story mode and your basic arcade ladders, there's also a tag mode. This mode in particular opens up the door for some really insane combo chains, as characters can tag in and out instantly mid-combo. There's also unique tags that do crazy damage. It's worth mentioning that not every combination of characters gets these unique grabs. Most of them are based on story or technique connections between the characters. If you're playing a tag mode as two characters who don't have a unique pairing, however, you still get to perform a team grab. It's just not as impressive. The only mode I still haven't quite conquered is Survival Mode, which pits you against an ever-rotating cast of characters until you finally KO a certain number. On the easiest difficulty, you only need to take out about 10 people. Where I am now, the goal is 50, and I have yet to accomplish this. Alright, I can't stay silent anymore. Alan, I've been going through this footage, and have you noticed the strange obsession with holiday clothing? I mean, it's like every single recording session I go through, I fought like 8 Santas. Everywhere I look as I'm going through this footage, it's like, Santa, Santa, who wants to be Santa? Here comes Santa, Santa. Did you want to be Santa? Everyone gets to be Santa. Everyone gets to be Santa, you're Santa, I'm Santa, let's all be Santa together. Alright, enough Santas, I think we can all agree. Everyone's had a turn being Santa, yeah? Back to the game. One more mechanic unique to DOA5 is the new Power Blow. When your character hits half health, their bar starts to glow red. If you charge the Power Blow until wind is swirling around the character and you land it, you perform an insane attack combination, and then you get presented with this grayscale screen. This acts as an opportunity to aim your final blow and launch your opponent in the direction you want. Which leads me to my next point, stage transitions. There aren't any ring outs in DOA, but knocking your foe off a ledge will result in a stage transition, tacking on a little extra damage to the last attack as they clatter, bang, and plummet into the next area. The Power Blow is actually capable of activating unique stage features as well, piling on damage even further. That wraps up my very quick overview of DOA, which I hope explains what makes it a unique fighting game. There's a lot more nuance to this game, of course, there always is in a good fighting game, but I think I covered the essentials, which is really all I wanted to accomplish here. One other quick aside, all the footage you see here is the PC version. It's a perfectly serviceable version of DOA5, but it is missing a few features. For one, online play isn't yet available. It'll be another couple weeks, maybe a month before that goes live. The soft engine and 2 stages are also missing, but I find these to be less essential to my enjoyment of Dead or Alive. All this to say, if you have a choice, it's probably best to pick up a next-gen version on the PS4 or the Xbox One. I mean, unless you want to play the PC version against me when it comes out, Alan, in which case, PC all the way. Thanks for watching, to Alan, other Alans, and whoever might not be Alan. I'll see you next time with a new, probably less sleazy game. As for me, it's back to seeing what I can learn from old DOA Evo tournaments. Alan, I'll see you next time with a new game vlog. Thanks for watching. There's nothing really revolutionary there, I suppose. I mean, Mortal Kombat has a dedicated block button these days. God damn you, phone.